Hi, my name's Jay Johnson. I'm here I'm here in the library at the church in Royal, Illinois, and I'm going to be sharing a couple of parables over these next few weeks. I like parables because parables are great methods of teaching. They share a story. People like to hear parables. In the text of Scripture, in the New Testament, we know that there's 38 parables that he speaks about. Now, that may not seem like a lot. And when we talk about parables, sometimes people say, well, we only want to hear the parables of Jesus. Well, we do know that the rabbis from the years past, in the rabbinical literature that we have, the rabbis have over 1,000 parables, and they all are meant to teach a point. And Jesus uses his parables to teach a point about the things that he wants people to become aware of. So over these next weeks, we're going to be talking about parables. I'm going to be mentioning some other things about parables and kinds of parables. But I'm going to share a story with you today. It comes along after what we spoke about on Sunday. On Sunday, we mentioned that Jesus had come to the Mount of not Transfiguration, but Ascension. And he told his disciples he wanted them to go out and share the gospel with the people in Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. And so this is a story I'd like to share with you. I think you'll be able to see the point as we get through this. This story starts back in 2017. It was early in the week that week when I got on the plane. I was flying across to meet my wife in a place in the Middle East, and I'm not very techno savvy. I'm kind of not there, And so there was this video screen in front of me, and you tap at certain places, and things kind of pop up, and Jay's kind of going. So I just kind of look at it for a while. I'm thinking, I'm not too smart about this. So I'm tapping other things. And after about 10 minutes, I noticed this guy on my left. He's doing fine. And pretty soon he goes, do you need some help? I went, yeah. Hey, could you help me out on this? Because I'm kind of clueless. And I noticed he's got an accent. He's from another country. He's actually from Russia. And we're talking. And as we interact, I find out what his name is. His name is Andreas. Very, very strong name. And so as we're talking, we share, and he says, so I said, what do you do? He said, well, I'm a consultant. I said, well, what's your line of business? What do you consult? He said, well, I install computer systems in various countries around the region. And he mentioned the name of the country, several of the countries. So I said, well, wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. You got it right up here. You must be pretty smart. He goes, he said, I do okay. And then he said, what do you do? And I said, well, I teach. He said, what do you teach? I said, theology. Now, that sounds like a pretty high-tech term, a pretty elevated term, but, I talk about the Bible. And I didn't know where this guy was at. You see, I didn't want to say things to him that might yet, because I wasn't sure where he was at or who he was. So he goes, theology. He said, you believe in God? And I said, yeah, I do. I said, I really do. And when I said that, I can see his eyes kind of went up, and he was like, he says, I don't believe in God. And he said, and I don't believe in the church. Now, I know that he's from Russia, and I got a pretty good idea what the climate is in Russia of attitudes towards the church. And so he said, I don't believe in the church. I could understand that. And I said, yeah, I guess based on where you come from, I guess I can understand that, where you wouldn't believe in the church. So then I said, what do you believe? He said, well, I don't believe in the church. I said, well, what do you believe in? He goes, I believe in power. Power? Yeah, get things done. That's what we're all here. That's what we're here for. He said, I believe that we have the power we have the abilities, we have the capabilities, and we need to use our strength to influence other people. And I said, well, I can't disagree with that. And I said, can I mention something to you? And he goes, sure, what is it? I said, there was a guy by the name of Timothy. And one of his friends wrote him a letter. And the friend of his name was Paul, and he wrote Timothy this letter. And he said, we have, some people have a form of godliness, but lack its power. We deny that power that's there because we come from God, but we're supposed to be, as we trust God, we're supposed to have the power that God makes available, but we don't often have that because, we think we have power, but our power really isn't so efficient or effective. It's really not powerful. He kind of looked at me and he goes, and I said, your name's Andreas. And he goes, yeah. I said, you know what your name means? And he goes, no. I said, it means man. And I said, Andreas, you're like every man. You're like every man that walks. Every man that walks has ideas and concepts and things they believe. And I think he got the perfect name. He'd also told me what his sons' names were. He had 3 sons. This man was 40 years old. Now, why did I get this information? Well, the first thing you do when you meet somebody is you try to find who they are, and you try to find out where they're walking, what kind of work they do, and what their relationships are. And I must say, I was very, very impressed with this man and the things that he shared and his openness. He was very direct. But he told me about his 3 sons. One was Samuel, one was Daniel, and one was a boy named Lev, L-E-V, Lev. So he said, so what do you do? And I said, I teach. And I said, I live in a little town that's got about 290 people. And he laughed. He goes, no, it doesn't. I said, yeah, it does. I said, we've got about 290 people in our little town. And I said, he said, what do you do there? And I said, well, actually, I teach some classes there. I teach a lot of kids. And he said, why? Why would you waste your time with so few people? And I said, because I'm concerned about it. But why? There's so few people. I said, well, it's for their benefit. He said, what benefit could there be in knowing about this stuff that you believe? I said, well, Andreas, as Christians, our responsibility is to reach out and offer to people what we have. And he said, you work with children? And I said, yeah. And he goes, and what's the benefit of that? What's the payback? What do you gain from that? They can't give you anything. Oh, I said, the benefit is not for gain for me, it's for them, because we want them to be better. We want them to improve. We want them to think in new ways. We want them to know who God is really like. And he said, so he looked at me and I said, well, just like you, Andreas. Don't you love your kids? I mean, I think their ages were like 12 and 8 and 6 months. I said, you do things for them, you invest in them, you share with them, you talk with them, you give them things that are a benefit to them, but are they going to pay you back? I said, Jesus lives inside of us, and Jesus wants us to talk to people. I said these things to him. Now, remember, at the beginning of the conversation, he said, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in church. And I didn't ask him to believe in God. I just asked him to listen to what I was saying. And at the end, this is what he said. He said, I've never met anyone who has spoken such things to me. I've never heard of these things before. I have never seen these things lived out. And then he said, well, now I've met you. And maybe it can be different. That's what he said. That's what he really said. 31st of January 2017. Now, that's in a place halfway around the world. But the point is this: any one of us is called upon to just share the little bit we have. It doesn't have to be about some high-powered theological treatise. It just has to be about sharing who you are. So I thought that little story might be kind of interesting for you. So from time to time, I think back on him. I pray for him and his kids, and he had a lot more things to say, but that's it for today. So thanks for coming by. See you later. Bye now.